I'm going to trace out this guitar profile and we're going to machine it out of a piece of black walnut. I'll be using a full-size paper diagram. First thing we'll do in Logic Trace is define the four corners. I do that by touching the four corners on the paper diagram. Defining the four corners gives me a good display on Logic Trace. Also, you'll notice here I use a red pencil and they use that to mark off where I start my tracing. It gives me an idea of what's done. The first selection on Logic Trace will be the trace command. Here I'll just follow the perimeter of the guitar. It's here where I use the red pencil to show my starting spot. You can see here where I'm coming back to my starting spot. Now I'm going to start tracing some of the internal parts. It's probably a good spot here to talk about Logic Trace. Under the options, you can define the program how you'd like to set it up to suit yourself. Like for instance, I've set up my line width at 0.5 and I've selected it black. I want my diagrams to look like black thread. One unique feature is the ability of the program to extend the control window to another device, like a cell phone or an iPad. And this enables you to have that closer to you so you can make your selections very quickly. I find Logic Trace easy to use and it's fast, and it has the ability to be saved in different formats like DXF, PolyDXF, SVG, or PDF. I use DXF. Another neat feature is that when you save your work, the program saves an extra copy, which I call the working copy. So if you want to take a break or pick up tracing the next day, you can load that work copy and just continue tracing on. That work copy is a TLG format, and you pick that up by reloading it under Options. I use this feature a lot, so I'm saving my work about every 4 or 5 minutes, so I have a lot of copies. Pretty well finished all the tracing. I'm going to save my work, save my final file. I'm going to load this file into Vectric Aspire 11.5, check the vector quality, run it through the simulator, and create 2 toolpaths. Simulation looks good. This is just how I'm going to do it. So I've got the piece of black walnut fastened down with wood hold downs to the slave table. One toolpath will hog out the wood and the second toolpath will be a V-bit. That'll give the edge a bit of a chamfered look. I've programmed the CNC machine to hog out the material about 3/8 deep. You can see there that I use these wood hold downs to keep my work fastened to the slave table of the CNC. These wood hold downs are great because if you hit them with the bit, it doesn't do any harm. Shown here, I've switched that end mill, that 1/4 inch end mill, to the V-bit. And this is where I'll do that chamfer cut. So I'll just redo the whole area again, but I'll be doing kind of a V-bit cut. Just chamfering off the edges. You can see from this why I needed 2 toolpaths. One was the hogging and one was the V-bit. Black walnut's a nice material to machine out on the CNC. It's just some of the edges there on certain directions give you a bit of a fuzzy look to it, so just sand that off quickly. Forgot to mention there that I'm running at about 19,000 RPM on the router and running about 50 inches per minute feed rate. It looks faster, that's because the video is sped up about 4 times. As it's machining on, I do take a little piece of sandpaper and touch up some of the edges, staying away from the cutter, of course. It might look like I'm close, but I'm not. I'm about 3 or 4 inches away from that cutter. My plan here is to finish up with the sanding, just make sure there's no rough edges. Then I'm going to seal the whole black walnut area with a sealer. Then I'll apply 2 coats of white paint in the areas that I've machined out. Then I'll sand all that off again and apply 4 coats of clear lacquer. The initial sealing to put the white paint on stops that white paint leaking all over the place. The guitar profile on the black walnut looks good.